Is drumming beneficial to mental health? What about community drumming? Do you like turning up the bass line to 11 when you're in the car? What about ditching a music ed degree? This and much more on our next episode of Music Un-Tuxed with Matthew Woodson. Welcome, everybody, to Music Un-Tuxed.
Un-Tuxed.
Yes, and here I have with me today Matthew Woodson, an educator, performer, entrepreneur, and TEDx alum based out of Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I want people to get to know you here on this podcast. You came into my life as a young percussionist, MFE scholar out of college, and in your 20s, and we started working together. And even though you are of that age, you have had the description by many of my colleagues and myself as being old at heart, being an old, wise person.
An old soul.
Yes, you're an old soul. So I hope that resonates with you.
Oh, yeah. It definitely does.
So I want to ask you, what has been the journey that brought you here today? Being the wise self, patient, how you are today, and you're as young as you are.
Yes. Yeah. Now I'm 30. Yeah.
You're 30.
Young
That's
20s.
Right.
Yeah. And now, look at that. Yeah, I never thought about that.
You've never been this old in your life.
With that perspective. Very true.
Neither one of us has.
Neither, yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah, it's wild. But I would say it all stemmed to my father, a great guy. I've said it all stemmed from him. But when I was a kid, people would call me his shadow.
Wow.
So they would say, if you see Lem, then you're going to see Matt right behind him. So I was always following him from gigs and stuff, setting up drums. We would dress alike. So I would shop with my mother. And then if she got a shirt for him, I would just get the shirt lower down. So like we have photos where it's like us playing at church. I would play congas and then he would play drum set. So in the photos, you would see, wow, are they matching? And you're like, yeah, they're wearing the exact same thing. But I'm dressing like a 40-year-old man as I'm like a 8-10-year-old kid going around following my father, just doing what he's doing and all that respect. But it is funny because when I did come into Millersville, my freshman year, all the kids were in Bard Hall. That was like the music freshman hall. But I was like all the way across campus in these like upperclassmen towers for some reason. And like some of my best friends, actually my best man Chaz, when we first met, he thought I was an upperclassman just from like the way he was like, no, man, just from like the way you carry yourself and you're just in there, just like doing it in the bass drum line. I was like, and you didn't live with us? He was like, you lived across campus? And I was like, oh, dude, he's got to be like a junior, senior or something. I'm like, no, man, it's my first year. I was like, I'm in the same grade as you.
So this runs deep in you, the wise old man.
Yeah. Yes, it does. Even the music I listen to and all of that. I tell people I'm keeping the radio alive. I can't wait every single day until 6 p.m. hits. 'Cause that's when jazz starts playing on WRTI.
Yes.
Play straight through the night. And if I'm in the car, boom, that's what we're switching to.
So that's what you listen to, basically. WRTI.
WRTI.
Out of Philadelphia, right? Is that Temple? Is that a Temple radio? Remember?
Yep. It's out of Temple University. And
so that's what you listen to unwind, jazz.
Just to unwind, jazz, soul, R&B, all that stuff. So that's why I grew up playing drums too. I would just go home, play the CDs. So my father just had all these James Brown CDs, Jill Scott CDs, gospel CDs, and I'll just put it in the CD player, headphones on, banging away on the drums.
That's so great. And your dad is such a great role model for you to have.
Yes,
continually. He continues to be a role model. He's come up and sat in your bands on the Sundays on the roof at Telus.
Yeah. And I would sit in with his groups when I was young.
Yeah, that's
It's like
great.
full circle.
And so that how does that wise old man attitude,
Hmm.
and I'm not, and now I'm coining that phrase, wise old man.
Yeah, I
But
like that. Yeah.
yeah, it's just the maturity
Uh,
aspect. Um, how does that play into your community work that you do?
I feel like it opens a bit more doors for me, or at least allows people to like be like, oh wow, I've seen you do this, or I've seen you do that, and I'll just meet people and they'll be like, yeah, just come on in, let's do it. What do you want to do? Let's do this, let's do that. And then once I do it, and they experience me and what I can bring to the table, they just want it again, and then we can facilitate other things. But I think it also allows me to approach things in different ways.
Mhm.
I think and think just like my father. He's the ideas are just flowing through my head, and I'm like, yep, same for me. Yeah, ideas are just coming and coming. So I never really do something unless I'm just thinking about it a lot
Mhm.
beforehand. I'm not really that spontaneous, although I
Mhm.
can be spontaneous, especially playing music. Music's all spontaneous in that regards. But yeah, I think it's a lot of the thought process that goes
Mhm.
behind things.
A lot of people, as they grow older, they have to work at being vulnerable and
Hmm.
allowing themselves to be free. Because throughout their life,
Yes.
and I'm speaking from personal experience,
Hmm.
you develop these guards that come up. And working with you, I feel like what you just explained is very accurate in that you don't even have to work at being vulnerable. And it's in a very good way. And it's in a very just wide open expanse.
Yeah.
Here's what I got. I'm going to give it. And that's it.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Take it as it is,
And luckily, it's amazing stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
It really is. And
Yes, indeed.
and I have a question about that.
Uh-huh.
Let's talk about your role in the community here, because I
Hmm.
did mention about your rooftop
Yes.
performances at
Uh-huh.
Tellus. You play a lot throughout the community,
Yeah.
but specifically your role in the organization that both of us are deeply involved with, Music for Everyone. The
Hmm.
title, Director of Community Percussion. I know that's a unique title. We always say, what organization really has that title?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You know?
Yeah, it's very unique.
So right there, community is actually before the instrument that you play.
Hmm.
It's director of community.
Community. Yeah.
And
Hmm.
let's just even just take that community.
Yeah.
And that's the title, director of community.
Community.
So
Yes, indeed.
community percussion. Tell us about what your role is.
Okay, a little bit about it. It's a big one. It has a lot of arms, a lot of branches that come off of it. But originally, when it started, at the time, I was teaching with Music for Everyone, teaching in schools, going in and whatnot. And then I saw like a bigger opportunity of where I could take it and what things I could offer to the organization. So I went to them and I basically said, hey, we're doing this with this percussion thing, but I don't think it's enough. I think we could use more because of X, Y, and Z, like the state of percussion. I was basically saying that. It's like, what's the state of percussion within the schools and what's the state of percussion within the community? And how can we really use this tool that's very accessible, that's very fun, enjoyable thing to branch out and build communities and help people come together more and help people just find joy in creating. So then they thought about it and I thought about it of things I could do, things I could bring. And then they said, yeah, let's do it. Let's start some stuff. So I originally, when I first started it, I was like, okay, we need a community drum circle. Let me like host like a weekly drum circle thing. And we did that at Brightside, and
Mm-hmm.
that was nice.
Right
It
side's
was
a
going,
community center, a big
yes.
community center here in
Brightside
Lancaster.
Community Church and Center.
Yes.
So we were doing it there, and that was great. And then I was like, I'm just here at this church. Everybody has to come here. What if I find spaces that I can go into? Spaces that would have folks that need help coming together or just times for enjoyment with music
Mm-hmm.
enrichment. So then I partnered with folks like Boys and Girls Club. I was at the Milagro House working with some of their kids over there, Lancaster Rec Center, doing summer camp things. And it really revolved around drum circles, bucket drumming, body percussion, just anything. So there was really no limit. It was like, okay, we don't have any instruments. Cool. Do we have chairs? No, we don't have chairs. Perfect. Do we have a room that we can just stand in and clap and do some things and sing? We can make it happen with any scenario. So that's how it started. And I joined the Bangin' Strings.
That's right.
Our Crispus Attucks. And that was, yeah.
Yeah, I want to add that when you mentioned the accessibility of the percussion, that is really an advantage.
Yes.
Me being a violinist and starting the string program for Music for Everyone, yes, that is great. And it does a lot. And you have to hold it like this and create a sound like this and have all sorts of fine nuances.
Yeah.
And then, of course, getting the instruments in hand, there's a lot of variables.
Yeah.
But what you're saying with the percussion, it is a community instrument. It's there. It actually is the innate community instrument. So I think director of community percussion is a natural. It shouldn't be a surprising title. Actually, every community should have one.
Yeah. And most do with certain folk scenarios, like Ed with his love drums. He builds communities, whatever. He brings out his stuff and does his thing, which kind of is like a bigger kind of goal that I see for in the future with Lancaster. So not that I would be like the lead of facilitating all these people's things, but it's almost like we just have a big group head of minds. Then each person, this person is that, this person is that, and we can make it way better.
Yes.
Way bigger and way
with collaboration, more and more collaboration. And I believe, and we were doing the Dagara medicine wheel, the Dagara, the story of creation. And Malidoma Some's suggestion is that the percussion create the base of everything. They create at the base of creation, or at the center of creation, is the drum. Not only in our community here, it's worldwide.
Yes. Yes, everywhere worldwide. Like I was actually just yesterday, I have this drum that was actually donated to Music for Everyone, and it was just dropped off at the factory. And I took it home, and I didn't really know what type of drum it was. And yesterday I was like, let me look up and find out what type of drum this thing is. And it's I don't really know how to say it, the name of the drum, but it's a Native American drum. And they make it out of a tree log, and they hollow it out, and then you just put two sides on the drum. And they have it, and then this guy was saying, like, yes, with all their prayers, with all their ceremonies, he was like, this is the root of us. This is the root of our existence, of how we get crops, of how we grow things. He was like, it all revolves around the drum itself. And I was like, wow, dude, that's deep. He's like, without the drum, we wouldn't be able to exist.
Not only is it the community builder, the drum within humanity, but it has a direct relationship with nature, as you're saying, how it's carved and how everything around us can be a percussion instrument.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, that's a great attitude.
Yeah.
Do you think all percussionists have this attitude, or is this?
I don't think so. 'Cause I don't think I always had this attitude either.
You're a wise old man.
Yeah. I don't think I always had the kind of like community building access part of it, because for most part I was just playing drums because I love to play drums and I love to play in bands and make music and this and that. And I never really thought, okay, how can you build community with the percussion? How can you create spaces and groups of things where people can actually come in and join in on this, and they've never touched it before, but it's quick and easy to create all together. I would say that was like after my college times, I started thinking about that. Where I was like, I'm not going to be an in-school desk type teacher, dude. What am I going to do?
You did not get an education degree, a performance degree?
Yeah, I got a performance degree. It
Okay.
was my senior year where I switched over. So I was like just like dragging along student teaching. So I was like, man, if I do student teaching, like I'm gonna have to do this thing. I'm gonna have to
So,
go through and do all this stuff. And then they were like, it seems like you really don't wanna do this. And I was like, yeah, it seems like that. And they were like, let's see in this portal or whatever, if we switch your major over to performance, music performance, like what classes or like what credits would you need to graduate? And they switched it over, and the only class I needed was the Art of Entrepreneurship. So I
ooh,
took that class that
good one.
semester and graduated. Music
And look at
performance.
you now, director
You
of
know?
community percussion, that entrepreneurship right
Yeah.
there,
Opened up doors, man. Victor
creating your
Capici.
own
Yeah.
niche.
Uh-huh.
And would you consider yourself an educator?
Yep.
Yeah, I would
Hmm.
too. In addition to that, we've collaborated a lot together, and I deeply respect your musicianship. And the thing that I really love about
Hmm.
performing with you, and also when I hear you
Hmm.
with some of your groups and with your steel pan, and is that you're able to find that groove to fit in, to be able
Hmm.
to know when to not be there, know when to be there, know when to be supportive, know when to come out, the variety of styles of your music making. And that just to fit in and thrive rather than being
Yeah, I see what you
squashed,
mean.
feeling, oh, I can't be heard. I know as a
Uh-huh.
violin player, we think, hey,
Yeah,
I got
yeah.
to be first violin. We got a little bit
Uh-huh.
more. So, what I appreciate about you, there's a humbleness with integrity, how you fit in and how you come out. So, that's a quality that I think goes beyond musicianship and that eh, all of us could use, even in our daily interaction, just
Yeah, yeah.
how you put it in musically. So, my question to you is what is your mindset when you are creating music
Great.
with others collaboratively
Hmm.
and rolling with it, fitting in and thriving?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know what you mean. I would say a lot of it is listening.
Yes.
I would consider myself a pretty good listener of sorts. I've listened a lot throughout my life. Going back to my father, I would just sit at his rehearsals and just listen out, fake like I was asleep. So my mother would make me go upstairs to go to sleep. So I
I
just wanted to
really,
be,
I
I just
love
wanted to
that.
be on the sofa while they're just playing and practicing in the living room. I'm like, nope, I'm trying to listen. I would put my ear to the floor and try to listen to them from the bottom and all this stuff. So I think a lot of listening has helped with that whole approach of me be able to go into different spaces and hear different things and then be able to mold it and fit it. But most times when I'm playing with a group or with folks, especially on drum set, I consider myself almost like a free agent, almost like a freelancer. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
So with it all, I'm a support, but I'm also a foundation. So with that approach to the things, it's okay, you have to make sure everyone feels comfy. They feel comfortable. I'm not going to throw anybody any tricks or any this or that because then they're not going to trust me. On the next, they're going to feel like, oh, what is he going to do? What's going to happen there? And then the listening comes in. So I think I'm a good multitasker with the
Mm.
music. Like I can keep a steady beat and talk to somebody and still play through the tune, this and that. People are like, how can you talk and play and sing and play and all and that? And I was like, I don't. It's just what I've been doing. I just did it, and I can do it, and it happens so naturally. So with that, with the whole listening side, I can hear things and then go, okay, wow, that was pretty cool. Or I'll hear it and I'll just hop on to what somebody else is doing and they'll hear that and they'll go, wow. So it's like the whole, okay, I hear what you're bringing to the table. You're bringing this. How can I join you a little bit? Or sometimes how can I just let the space be open so you can just soar and float away?
Mm.
And we're like in this kind of journey together rather than like against each other. Because a drummer can make or break a group. That's what a lot of people say. A drummer can, you can hear like different group sounds and like, okay, that person's playing or that person's playing. Even like a bass player, you can be like, oh, that bass player is playing on this bass. So like those whole relationships within those scenarios.
Listening and
Uh-huh.
building trust,
Yes.
being
Yeah.
together, and the multitasking doesn't hurt as well.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
another,
It
that's a
never
whole
hurt.
other can
Yeah.
of
Like
beans.
almost like you, how you like play music and watch the Phillies game and like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. And even you threw me under the bus on that, but that's okay. I don't really
Hey, we can all do
advocate,
things.
but sometimes it is good to do that. I
Yeah,
knew
the practice and
I had a violin teacher that would watch cartoons while he practiced.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
But anyway,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think the
I like all those
listening,
brain tricks. Yeah.
yeah, I think the
Uh-huh.
listening is huge. And the idea of trust, trusting your colleagues and having
Hmm.
them be able to trust you.
Yeah,
And
which goes with everything, communities, and it's
exactly.
bringing people together. It's like, all right, we're in this thing. Like my big speech that I say before almost any big drum circle or anything I do, I say, all right, put your little piece in, but remember, leave some space for somebody else to input a little something else. If you take up the whole atmosphere, you won't be able to hear a cool thing someone else is doing. Let me join that rhythm, or let me this and that.
This could be not just for music. This is for
Hmm.
humanity, what you're saying.
Yes. Yeah. Hmm.
This is for humanity. All these words of wisdom you're telling us about how to fit in and thrive in a musical collaboration are pretty much the essence of what we could use as
Yeah. Everyday
as
life.
a world environment.
Just, hmm.
Wow. So that's pretty cool.
Mm.
Yeah. So what did you talk about in your TED Talk?
In my TED Talk, yes. In my TED Talk, I talked about cultivating the power of music. So for, yeah,
I think
yes,
we're hearing it.
yes, indeed. So for the TEDx, I was the, what do you call it? I was the music portion. So like for
Mhm.
each TEDx event, you have speakers, and then in the middle, they always have some type of music entertainment to revolve around that. And some people do it differently. So I did a performance, a short performance with my father on my steel pan drums, and then did a short, I don't even remember how long, this probably 5 minutes or so, talking about cultivating the power of music and how my journey began from the story that my father tells everybody. And it's the story, I think I was 4 or 5. And his drum set, if it was set up in the house, it would be in our living room, right in front of this big window. And there's like sofas on the wall, TV. It's basically like a piece of furniture.
Mhm.
Boom, right there, set up so beautifully. And I would sit down and play it every now and then. And he would ask me, he'd go, Matt, why do you like playing the drums? And he said, I just stopped and I looked at him and I said, because it feels good. And he said he walked away, went to my mother and was like, this boy's gonna be playing drums for the rest of his life. You
Yeah,
know?
because it feels good.
Because it feels good. So then I went on and took that of, okay, it feels good. How can I use this feel good feeling and spread that feeling of
Mhm.
feeling good, creating music? We should all be have that feel good feeling when this happens. So then my collaboration with Music for Everyone is some of the things that I do, like with Lancaster Office of Aging. We do like big live drumming events. I have a line drumming Zoom event that we do weekly on Wednesdays with their online senior center, which is a pretty cool, amazing thing. I think they're like one of the first people to really start up this thing, and now everybody else is trying to emulate what they're doing with this online system of where it's basically folks who are like comfortable within their homes. Maybe they can't get out too much to see people, so then they curate a full list of weekly activities. You could be on Zoom doing drumming, be on Zoom doing art, you can be on Zoom doing yoga, learning about technology, all these things, and you're meeting all these people, and then you can meet up at live events like my drumming event and
Mhm.
have lunch with these people. So it's a pretty amazing thing what they have going there. But how
That's
I do
great.
that, my work with the after school program, how we started with the banging strings.
Yeah,
And
the banging strings.
when that was the first time I really recall meeting you,
Yeah,
was that Christmas Saturday? I can't even remember the first day. I don't know if you, I don't even recall the first, but I think it was at Christmas Saturday
I
was
think it
one of the
was.
first
And
times.
then you came in. I guess I invited you. I felt like we needed an infusion.
Yeah.
Something was going on with the string program. It was just strings. And then I heard about your involvement with MFE, that you were coming on board. And what you brought to the strings was great. There was a certain vitality. And of course, you kept us on the beat in rhythm, which was great. And then all these dimensions unfolded.
Yeah.
You and I began collaborating, adding.
Yeah, the first thing we did was the video for Make America Great, Not the Land of Hate.
That's again. And we had the strings involved there.
Uh-huh.
Yes, we've done quite a bit together. By the way, tell me about your opinion of different hot sauces. I know you like hot sauce, right?
Oh, I love some hot sauce.
You do?
You know? And you make a mean hot sauce.
Okay.
You really do. A very good hot sauce. I've told you should bottle that stuff up.
All right.
Take it to a market.
So this is how you really survive and thrive, complimenting people on their creations. I also want to know, so you're an educator. Yeah. We've been talking about how it seems like you listen, you give people space. So it has been observed that every once in a while there can be unruly students at times in our sound factory. How do you cope with that? Because I want to hear what is the mechanism, the Woodson mechanism that copes with that, because I'm in awe.
People say I have an immense amount of patience. I think that could help. I don't know where my patience came from, or how much I still have, or how much I'll have as I continue on. Mm-hmm. But with that, I try to not really let it too much distract from the full thing. So I feel like if these things are happening and then I myself get all big and flustered about them, okay, then how is that going to help everyone else? Because if I can't stay sane within this thing, what are they going to hold on to? If they need something to grasp and keep us going forward. But then also, like, outside of the situation, like addressing the student or something and just being like, hey, man, we both know, like, just talking real with people. Like, I don't like to baby talk kids or even like baby talk babies when people are like, ooh, I'm like, I'm just going to talk to the baby like I'm talking to you. The baby will learn. It's going to be all right. I don't have to talk all high pitched and this and that. So get real with the student and then they start to get a grasp of, okay, yeah, I get it. And I'm like, come on, man. Like, we talked about this. Let's not have repeated behaviors of sorts. But the first teacher who told me I had a very big lot of patience was Georgia.
Oh, really?
So I did a lot of, Georgia, me and Tyler, when we were scholars together, Georgia was basically like the teacher that we were like under, almost like if we were student teaching. So we would go in, I think 2 days out of the week, and it was like on the back half of her day. So she would just let us know, okay, next week I'm going to have third grade or second grade during these two classes. What portions of the lesson do you want to teach? What portions of this do you just want to, listen? And then we would tell her. And then we also ran her WADE, West African Drum Ensemble. So we were doing that. But as well as going to her classroom during the school day for our own classes. So we watched a lot of her teaching. She watched a lot of our teaching. She would just be like, Matt, man, you have like so much patience, especially with like the drum ensemble. Because like it's hard when you have a lot of kids and drums and sticks and like even like Keith mentioned, like he's Matt, like how do you like navigate through all this like sound and cacophony and stuff going on? And I was like, you just gotta stay focused, man. And yeah, it's gonna happen. They got instruments. They want to explore. They want to play them. They want to this and that. So I never really thought. I only thought this until I was in college, was that when I was a kid, I had drums at home. I had access to a ton of percussion stuff, and they would just let me play. I would come home from school and just play. And it was like until 9, like I had to stop playing drums. So I had time to explore on the drum kit. I was doing weird stuff, trying out different sticks and mallets, playing with my hands, just exploring the instrument. And I'm like, they need time to also explore this instrument.
Patience, freedom, talking real to the kids. Yeah, that's great. Now, do you do anything to rejuvenate
To rejuvenate myself.
Yeah, because this is not
Yes.
easy work.
No, it's not. It's not easy work at all. I like to take a lot of bike rides.
Bike rides?
Yes, I also like to create and play music. So I'll come home and pull out my steel pan and play a bit or do some tunes, hang with
Nice.
friends. My wife watches some TV. She loves her reality TV, so like Survivor
Yeah.
and all those shows. Keeping up to date on some of those things.
Hmm.
Listening to jazz. I tell people, man, straight ahead jazz, a beautiful walked bass line, just a doom doom boom. Man, that can heal anybody's soul. Turn it on in your car. And the best tip is to go hit your sound like mode and turn the bass all the way up. So on those jazz recordings, the bass is low. So if you turn that bass up, you're going to be feeling that chord note, dude, and it's just going to be so much better.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
So much better.
I love that.
Okay.
Okay.
I love a walking bass line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this has been really great. Well, first of all, I always love talking with you.
Hey, same
And
here.
so now everyone else can enjoy the Matt Woodson experience. And so before we close out today, I would like to know if you have any, I'd love to close out with a track of yours. If you have a recording that you'd like to play, if there's something that really resonates with you, you don't have to play it right now. We'll add it on later.
Okay, gotcha.
Do the show,
Yes,
really put it together. But if you would like to tell us, give us a little, if you want to think about something.
Mm-hmm. I think I put one that, because I think this is one of the pre-questions.
You put something called Pan in A.
Yes, that was for the last song that I listened to.
Yes. So that's the last song that you would listen to.
Yeah, that's the last, Pan in A minor by Lord Kitchener, who is the king of Calypso.
That's right.
Trinidad and Tobago. There's a statue of him. The greatest tune. You watch the video of the tune, and it's him like in a gymnasium or something, like in a square, and he's just walking around, prancing, just singing this tune, and the band's just cooking away, and it's just full energy.
Wow.
Full energy.
I love that energy.
Yeah, the whole thing is like, they put it in minor. Like, that's the greatest. Like, what if we put a tune in minor? They're all playing in major. Let's put it in minor, and everybody will like it, and it's a big hit. Wow, man! Just turn it to minor, A minor.
Yeah,
magical. A minor is so magical.
If we can play that, we will. I have to figure out if I have the rights to do that.
And then the one that I was gonna say, I guess it's not a creation of mine. But the one I put down, which if you need one of mine, we can take one from there, from the TEDx, what I entitled the tune. Because for the TEDx, the guy, he told me, he was like, okay, we need this amount of music. I think you can only do 3 or 5 or so minutes, and then it's 3 or 5 or so for the speech. So I was putting together a mash of Hot by the Arrows, me on steel pan, and my father would play the drums. And then I think I was going to turn it into Pan in A minor with do a song like infusion type thing. And then I said it to him. He was like, well, I got to see if we can get the rights for that. Can you find anything that's like free domain and this and that? And I'm like, okay, cool. So I did Lift Every Voice and Sing. And then I just created a tune that I called the Steel Pan Jam.
The Steel Pan Jam?
Yep, the Steel Pan Jam. And I was just in my basement of my old house, me in the pan. I was just playing some stuff. And I was like, oh, this is like a cool little melody. And it was a melody that I just had on like voice memos. So I was making voice memos of stuff. Like, oh, this could be a song. Speak. Voice memo number 32. And it just lives in my phone if I ever go back to it, whatever. And I went back to that one thing and I was like, all right, let's like expand this and make it into a little tune. So yeah, the Steel Pan Jam.
Steel Pan Jam.
Yeah.
So let's close out with that then. I think that would be great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And tell us, where can we find out about you?
Where can you find out about me? Really not too many places. To tell you the truth, I'm like
That's okay.
Yeah, and I'm like an undercover guy. I like to pop up on people, and they're like, "Oh, snap! I do have an Instagram. Folks can find me at and see some of my playings and recordings. And that's Matt_drums with a Z, no S. And the Z kind of makes it a little bit cooler.
Yeah, those Instagram things are so hard for me to figure out. Okay, so Matt_drums, DRUMZ.
Z. Yes, yeah. You can find me on there. You can also follow me on my Facebook page. I put up a lot of stuff
You do, yeah.
with my videos or things that we've done together. You can see a lot of things on there.
Yeah, and I might put a recording of what we do together on here.
Oh yeah. Hey.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
Matthew Woodson, for being here today. This has just been a pleasure speaking with you, and just just hearing about all your community activities and how important it is to keep that beat alive, right?
Yes, indeed. Everybody has a rhythm inside them.
Ooh, everybody has a rhythm inside them. Okay. Bye-bye from Music Untuxed.
Music Untuxed.
We will stay untuxed.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Oh, yeah.